This could all go horribly wrong at any minute. Hello and welcome to the 217th edition of Lewis Black's Rantcast, entitled, Sure, Why Not? Because that's the way I feel about everything that is happening today, especially as the news cycle continues and never stops. It's endless. There is no pause to just take a breath. It just continues to pound us like the waves, if on a daily basis, just as it pounds the beach, it pounds against our brains. And certainly, unless you're able to avoid it, and I don't know how you avoid it, because if it's not pounding your brain, it's pounding somebody down the street's brain, and eventually they will wander up the street, and you will either hear from them or you will see them. And what is pounding in their brain, because we communicate in other fashions, it will pound on your brain. And that seems to be what's happening out there, because, and I call it Sure, Why Not? Because I don't know how else I'm trying to find the joke at the end, because I don't know how to write setups. I've continued to say this over and over and over again. I've lost that ability. This is way beyond, in order to actually find a setup for what is occurring, because what is occurring is so funny on certain levels and so psychotic on certain levels, really. It's so psychotic that it is, in order to really make it funny, you have to come up with a more psychotic setup than what is there, but you can't. This is already written. It's done. And I don't know how to really make it funnier, except after it happens, go, sure, why not? Why wouldn't we? Lara Loomer, a noted right-wing conspiracy theorist, and let's just say conspiracy theorist. We don't even have to say right-wing, and I shouldn't be doing that because I don't like people throwing those terms out. But I will say that many people think, even on the far right, or those who were fans of, of the boss, as that they feel that she's just too much. And she was actually at a meeting with the boss, and I don't mean, of course, for those of you who've missed it, I'm not referring to Mr. Springsteen, but our esteemed president, who is acting like a boss. So why not skip the president stuff? That's for pikers. That's for people like the ghost of Christmas past, Joe Biden. This is the boss. That's beyond the presidency, because he's going to stick around. Not 3 terms, 4 terms, even when they bury him, he'll be doing radio broadcasts from wherever he's at. And it was she was basically, to give you a sense of her conspiracy. She believes that 9/11 was an inside job. She believes that 9/11 was an inside job. Sure, why not? It's not a way that I've looked at it before, but it certainly makes sense that the federal government, which has been incompetent for years, and we've been told, and that's why we've had to do this whole revamp of it, that all of a sudden they were capable of pulling this off, and really well done, and got those people to dress up like Saudis and get on the plane and be able to pull off things that were just unimaginable, because that's how smart the feds are, and who knew? But that's the fact that she thought that. And also it should be noted that they've taken out 16 or 17 of the folks who were dealing with the health issues of the first responders and others who lived near the area where 9/11 took place. And that was part of our week in Sure, Why Not? Why cut down the staff? It's too many people kind of really servicing a group of people who were dying because they raced down to whatever they could to save those there, and to make things better for the rest of us as quickly as possible. But then they've stood there. I won't even go into it. But she's and she's also she believes that in Ohio they were eating the pets. She was also touting that on her variety of social media. Well, she is apparently wielding more influence over the staff of the National Security Council than Mr. Waltz, who is the National Security Advisor for the president. And she came in, and after the meeting, the boss fired 6 members of that council. And this is based on interviews with a bunch of people who have access to this information. But of course, he's said no. Of course, he didn't have anything. She had nothing to do with it. It was just people who. And she did it because she felt that and she passed the information on that they were disloyal, and not to the United States, which would be certainly reason enough that these people should be fired. Because for God's sake, we will not have that. But they were disloyal to the boss, and you cannot be disloyal to the boss, whatever the fuck that means. Because really, their job is not to be loyal to him. Their job is to be loyal to the United States and spend their days with their heads down looking at information and finding out what the hell is going on so that they can keep us safe. But we don't really need them anymore. We don't really need the national security because we're going to have those borders cut off and we will have nothing to worry about ever again. So this is who the people who were fired included Brian Moss, the senior director for intelligence. And wouldn't it be something if it was intelligence for the whole government, not security, but just smart. They got rid of the smart guy, but no, it's because of he was the senior director for intelligence. Maggie Doherty, the senior director for international organizations. Thomas Boudry, the senior director for legislative affairs. That's three of them, and I don't know who the others are. I'm sure I could go find them for you. You can find them on your own. That's more than enough right there. Got rid of 6 of them, okay? Because somebody who just wandered in thinks that they are, has some sort of a thing. And we don't even get what that is. We're not told how they're disloyal. Did they say bad things? Did they say, oh boy, I think he may be making some mistakes. I don't like his hair. Why is he orange? All of those things, questions that someone might ask. But I don't think they were concerned with that, okay? I don't think being disloyal to the president has anything to do. And what does that mean? Millions of people have worked for the federal government for years. I was a part of that crew. And I didn't agree with President Nixon, who I was there under, which is really something, okay? Talk about as far away from him as I could possibly be in terms of my philosophy, my political beliefs, but I didn't sit there and try to bring I didn't do my work because he was the president. I did my work because I believed in the work, and we were trying to really do what we could to improve the economy of Appalachia, but we don't need to do that anymore. Because the president's bringing back everything with tariffs. So in Appalachia, things will be booming. They'll be fucking booming. They'll be making all sorts of things there. Manufacturing is coming right back. And let me tell you, the tariff thing, it's just terrific. Huh? Did you hear that? Well, I really nailed that one, didn't I? Terrific. Tariffs. Liberation Day came out on Wednesday. And we can see that the whole thing is just kind of plummeting. You're standing up at the White House, standing there with like something that could have been, I might have done it in high school, a large kind of a thing explaining all of how all of these tariffs would go up to 100 some odd countries, 2 of which are islands in which one of the islands has no one lives on the island except polar bears. And he slaps some tariffs on them because those sons of bitches are crocheting. They're making, God knows the doilies that they're sending out and some of the underwear that is being made by them and the dexterity of the polar bear. And that's why we were trading with them. And now he is fucking kiboshed that for everybody, everyone, everywhere. And by the way, as long as I've forgotten this, and I'm just going to go back because it doesn't matter when I say stuff anymore. Because it's impossible to keep up with them. If you're going to ask if you're going to take the word of Lara Loomer, why not take the word of somebody come in with a horoscope and say, I've just been doing, and these people are all incompetent because of their birthdays. Yeah, they were born under the wrong sign and certainly the wrong stars, and they should not be in. Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that for the whole fucking government? Take all their horoscopes and get a super horoscoper in there to scope up everything. God, Jesus, we're worried about national security, and he has people fired who've been in the trenches for quite a while, for whatever. You've got them in place. You just don't yank 6 of them. You yank one at a time, so you can plug in. Unbelievable, just fucking believable. Sure, why not? Sure, why not somebody who does the horoscope? But why shouldn't they instead work alongside Elon Musk and Lara Loomer? And there's a triumvirate for you. And maybe that's where she got the sheath of papers. And but it's incredible. The tariffs are stunning, and he's doing it for the betterment. He wants to reshape the American economy, and he wants to restructure it. Okay, and that's fine. All right, but explain how. Explain what it is that this is going to do. That it's going to make it how things will be different under his restructured economy, and that we should buy more American articles. We buy a lot of American stuff. Okay, and some of the stuff we want to buy from other people, and basically the Republicans seem to be banking on the people who are going to want to pay more in order to make the American economy better. I don't know how that happens. I don't see it. But if people do want to buy other cars, people want things from other countries. That's just the facts. And some of those cars are made here. All right? They're made here. Okay? Toyota, Honda, Kia. Hyundai, I think. I'd have to check on Kia and Hyundai, but Mercedes, a ton of cars from outside the country are made here. I may have even talked about this last week. You want everything to be made here? Huh? Is that it? This is going to protect auto workers' jobs? Okay. All right. That's this much of the economy. Okay. Or that much. I don't know. Sure. Why not? Sure, but don't tell us anything. Why would you want to tell us what you're doing and why you're doing it? Right? I just know that this is really what works. How do you know it works? It's never worked. When there's 6 people, okay, 8, maybe 10, 12 in the cabal with him, kind of going, yeah, this is really going to work, and the rest of the world and and maybe the Republicans in Congress really believe this, but there are a few enough that they voted to keep it alive. They make sure that Canada got a fair shake on this. But these people, they're not enough of them. Okay, most economists. Okay, but why should we believe them? Son of a bitch, they work with numbers. They've been in school too long. Many of them are in places where there's DEI, so God knows if we can trust them. And they're out there, and are they really good at adding and subtracting? Yeah. And the rest of the world is telling you, stop it. Okay? When the whole world says, what the fuck are you doing? Okay? You got to listen. Why? Because it's the people you live with. We're on the same planet. Okay? We are not. The world does not end at our fucking borders. Sure, why not? Of course it does. What am I thinking? I want our economy to be the strongest in the world. It was the strongest in the world. Now you're going to make it stronger. How are you going to make it stronger? You're going to have, and you need some of those people coming into the country that you don't want in the country in order to help make it stronger, but you're keeping them out. And meanwhile, you're flying them into places like El Salvador. Sure, why not? Why not send them to other places without any due process? Sure, why not? Why would we want due process anymore? Let's just cut to the chase and make sure we've got everything cleared out so that people who are wealthy can continue to live the lives that really they enjoy, and we'll see what happens to the rest of the country. Okay, I'm really rolling now, and I don't even know what I'm saying. That's how crazy it was today. All right? Then he fired also this March 30th, Peter Marks, I want to read this, the Food and Drug Administration's top vaccine official, Peter Marks, resigned under pressure Friday. That's last Friday, and said that the Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s aggressive stance on vaccines was irresponsible, really, and posed a danger to the public. So, sure, why not? Well, you sure, what difference does it make, really? That's probably the title of next week's. Sure, why not? What difference does it make? It's become clear that truth and transparency are not desired by the secretary, but rather he wishes subservient confirmation of his misinformation and lies, Dr. Marks wrote to Sarah Brenner, the agency's acting commissioner. He reiterated the sentiments in an interview, saying, the man doesn't care about the truth, he cares about what is making him followers. Dr. Marks resigned after he was summoned to the Department of Health and Human Services on Friday afternoon and told that he could either quit or be fired, according to a person familiar with the matter. Yep, Siri Bob, unbelievable. He led the agency's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, which authorized and monitored the safety of vaccines, including cell and gene therapy. He was viewed as a steady hand by many during the COVID pandemic, but come under criticism for being overly generous to companies that sought approval for therapies with mixed evidence of a benefit. All right. And that may be reason, and they certainly should look into that. But the vaccine program, it's nice to have somebody who has been doing it for a long time. But, our new head of health and human services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., is really just not sure about vaccines. And certainly, he's even gone ahead and said that measles kills people, that the vaccine has killed people. And they just get to say stuff and they don't have to prove anything. And sure, why should anybody have to prove anything? And I just hope that those, the polar bears don't attack us, okay? And but meanwhile, you're going to attack Greenland, all 56,000 people who live there. And why wouldn't we attack them? Do we ever need Greenland for national security? Sure, why not? Why not attack Greenland? Okay? I don't know how to do the setup for the idea of attacking Greenland, which is funny. It is staggeringly funny to think that we would do this. Also, last week I was remiss because it just kind of comes in Noam, Kristi Noem, head of Homeland Security, the day after the fires. She had this to say that we should get rid of FEMA. That'll be next, right? The people who come in, all right? Let's leave it to all the rest of America to get there on time so we can save a few more bucks. And so that, for what? For a rainy fucking day? We can save a few bucks so that maybe we can keep ourselves propped up for a while until this tariff thing drains us. Sure, why not? Why not get rid of FEMA? Okay? They certainly haven't done the job. People have complained about them. Somebody's got to be there, and it's got to be a federal response. And because the state can only do so much. But what do I know? Okay, maybe it'll be better without them. Sure, why not? Why wouldn't it be better without them? Huh? Here's an extraordinary cover of the New Yorker. I just thought it was stunning in the way in which it nailed what occurred in was Signalgate, as they call it, I guess. But it was way over the top what occurred, and it took a brilliant mind to really nail it. And it one step further than my favorite satiric film of all time, Dr. Strangelove. Just see it. I'm not going to sit here and describe it. Just see it. It took a subject that at the time is still the most one of the most difficult subjects to make, to write about it in a funny way. And Stanley Kubrick nailed it on a level that I was opened my mind completely, and has certainly created the idiot who is speaking to you today. But this cover takes from that and puts it in light of what's occurring now, and that is this. You can see them. They're all, and I'll pull it back, they're all on the bomb. Peter Hedgehog and J.D. Vance, I think that's, what's her name? Our new national one, whatever that, she's in charge of this. I can't remember her name. It doesn't matter. And because it doesn't matter, okay? Could be any one of those people. And Mario Rubio, and they're riding the bomb down, as they did in Doctor Strangelove. It was Chill Wills who's on the bomb, and this is the group that was on Signalgate, and going all the way to the back there. There's others who were all listening. There they are with their cell phones, left to their own devices. Because they weren't talking about an attack, not at all. It's a splendid piece of satire, and says more than I could, for sure. So I just wanted to share that with you. Why wouldn't they be riding that bomb down? Because it wasn't anything they did. There was nothing. There was no secrets. Nah. I'll leave you with this. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, he's endorsed a bill that would ban non-human behavior in public schools. And by that, we mean the forbidden unlawful representation of role-playing in education. The Furries Act. They must have worked weeks on that down there. The forbidding unlawful representation of role-playing in education. They would prohibit activities such as barking, hissing, meowing, litter box use, because they were afraid that kids were coming in and using the litter box, which turned out to be, they made that up too. Sure, why wouldn't you make that up? Huh? That'll point a finger at somebody. That'll make sure that Americans pay attention to what's happening in the schools. That's reason enough to ban books in elementary schools and junior high and high schools, because they're all using litter boxes there because they can't even go to the bathroom because they made mixed use and two genders can go in there at one. But what about that third gender, the fourth one? Well, they don't exist anymore, so I wouldn't worry about it. The wearing of tails and or fur, except on Halloween and other approved holidays. What are the other holidays? Huh? Bunny time, I guess. Huh? What? What are the other approved holidays? Governor Abbott, speaking to a group of Baptist ministers, of course, Abbott said students should be learning the fundamentals of education, not being distracted by furries. Okay? What if you want to teach kids about animals? Huh? What if you say, what if you want barking? That's what they're worried about? What about getting kids a really good education? And this is what you're focused on? Huh? Meanwhile, the Department of Education is being dismantled, so you won't be able to get a certain amount of money to be able to help a whole group of kids who are underprivileged and many who have disabilities. Fuck that. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to worry about those fucking furries who aren't wandering around in the schools. If they want to play animals, let them play animals. Okay? It's a fun thing to do, especially up to like the second grade, I think. Why wouldn't it be? And later on, why wouldn't it be? If a teacher wants to use, I'm broken. I am broken for this too much. And that thing he held up with the tariffs that you could barely read. Wow. Unbelievable. Holding it like this. That's the best they could do. Huh? That's really no signage next to him, no kind of a thing. Even my friend Kathleen Madigan does a tremendous job when she announces her schedule, and it rolls by and it tells you where she's going to be, and it's magnificently done. They could have done that over while he was speaking, and he could have, but there was no, and he had all day to work on it. All day. I guess it took him all that time to figure out how he was going to fuck everybody. And once he did, they just put it in that chart form, which was difficult enough for him to read, let alone the rest of us. And so that's where we are. Sure, why not? So once again, thank you. I think you're going to enjoy the rants. They get better and better and better, and I hope that I'm reading them better. And it's a privilege and a pleasure to be doing that. And I mean that. And I really can't thank you enough for spending time with me. It really does mean the world to me. April 29th, I will be back in the old stomping grounds in Chapel Hill and performing at the Memorial Hall. And I think that'll be a unique night. And it'll be good to be back. I love Chapel Hill. Nolan, Dewey that is hopping mad. I really hope you get this. I was going to censor myself, but my sister is such a bitch and her husband is such a pussy, I can't. I have a children's version of The Call of Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft that was rewritten in the style of Dr. Seuss intentionally to get children to read and enjoy reading. Sorry for any typos. I've been drinking and partaking in certain substances. They piss me off so much. Well, anyway, getting back on track. My sister and brother-in-law, didn't like the book. They thought that it was sacrilegious. Now, I'm a Christian, and I know the difference between fact and fiction. Take that how you want. To quote Briscoe Darling from the Andy Griffith Show, more power to you if you don't agree. I do not believe that one day Cthulhu will rise from the depths of the sea and destroy us all. If I'm wrong, and it happens, take out Washington first. My dick-in-law, one of two I do not claim as family, the other being my wife's brother, which is an entirely different rant that I won't go into, told my wife that she should be in control of me and not allow this. Just because my sister pulls up her panties and wipes your ass doesn't mean I don't know how to raise my children. So fuck off, Eric. Since such events have unfolded, they have distanced themselves from not just me and my wife, but the grandparents too. Our own parents. My sister is keeping her children away from their grandparents. Over a fucking children's book. Is this the world we live in? What the fuck? You are not coming near Alabama, so let me know if you use this. I'll be checking my email and Facebook to see if you do. Thank you very much for this. My loyal fan, it says, a loyal fan, Nolan. Oh, P.S. Give the finger at the end and say, fuck you, Sharon. Hey, fuck you, Sharon. Fuck you, Sharon. Well, Nolan, I hope that helped. And I hope you get to see it. Roberta Hamil. I gave it a shot, Roberta. Dear Louis, you finally sparked enough anger in me to get me writing. I would like to talk about our current Secretary of Defense, Pete whatshisass. Now, I despise this little douchebag every bit as much as you do. I'm hearing him yell, I'm not little, but I object in the strongest possible terms to the nickname you've bestowed upon this semi-sentient sack of shit. Calling him Pete Hedgehog is a profound insult to one of the planet's most noble creatures, the hedgehog. Hedgehogs live in Europe, Africa, and Asia. They are impervious to many toxins and are total badasses. You can find internet footage of an African hedgehog fighting, killing, and eating a scorpion almost as big as the hedgehog. Hedgehogs are also peaceful creatures who never go looking for a fight. They just want to walk around looking for good bugs to eat without bothering anyone. However, they are very good at defending themselves. They raise their spikes and roll into a tight ball and say, go ahead and try it, asshole. These qualities of character would be admirable in a Secretary of Defense. Too bad Pete whatshisass has none of them. Therefore, the noble name of Hedgehog is completely wrong for Pete Hedge Clipping or Pete Lower Than Whale Shit. Definitely not Pete Hedgehog. Thanks for being a rational voice in an irrational world. Roberta in St. Louis. Well, thank you, Roberta. I knew nothing of the hedgehog, and I probably should have looked it up, but it's the one that gets over to the audience quickly. They know who I'm talking about. I don't think they know as much, but I really appreciated the knowledge. Pete lower than whale shit. Wow. Thanks. From Jeff Munson. This is in response to Tony from Rantcast number 215. Tony, I'm sorry you're struggling with your choice of underwear and working with a bunch of dickheads. You're tired of underwear with no dick hole? Allow me to help and introduce you to boxers. Boxers have a pee hole. When I go into a restroom, it's just a matter of a zip, extraction, and relief. Hope that helps. P.S. You may really want to find a new employer. If you have coworkers taking movies on their camera in the bathroom, you may want to make a charge. Of course, if this is a college job, disregard that. Well done, Jeff. I think it may have been in Rantcast 214. But you probably are right. We'll see. I'm sure that the gentleman who was worried about the underwear, Tony, will certainly get the message and maybe follow your advice. I'm a boxer, man, and I understand it. Here's one from Mike Clark. Is it possible to buy something these days from a retail store without getting 1,000 questions from the dumb shit taking your money? Who gives a shit about their preferred club or their rewards program? The extended warranty they try to sell is also a colossal waste of time and money. And when you say no to all of their offers, they get an attitude about your decision-making ability. Hey, dipshit, you point a laser beam all day at a barcode on the side of a piece of paper or plastic and then collect the amount of money that displays on your cash register. Not really taxing work, if you ask me. So why don't you take your laser, your attitude, and your stupid fucking club and shove it up your reed tail? The conversation usually goes something like this. Me. I'd like to buy this printer, please. Retail person. Are you a member of our rewards program? No. Would you like to know more about the program? No. You could save 10% on your purchase today. Fuck off. Really? You could save $15 on this purchase today. Look, ass eyes, I'm not going to join your stupid club. Just ring up the order, shut the fuck up, and put my shit in a bag, and let me leave. You're lucky I don't shove that laser gun up your ass until you hit the high C note from the song Funky Town. Okay, so now on to the rewards program then. Is that correct? Correct. I wasn't sure I was being clear on that point, so thanks for verifying. We also offer an extended warranty on this item. It is $19.95 for 2 years, and if anything ever breaks on this printer, we replace the printer for free. No thanks. Really? It's only $19.95, and it is for 2 years. To repair this printer here is $49 just for service, let alone the parts. Well, if it breaks, I won't bring it here to get it fixed then, will I? And by the way, was my first answer of no thanks somehow unclear to you? You're lucky I don't take your balls, shove them in a blender, and hit liquefy. Well, I will put some information on the extended warranty in the bag, and you can review it. You have 2 weeks to purchase it if you decide you want it later. I will also put the information on the rewards program in case you change your mind. Pal, I'm going to fist fuck you on the way out of here. And then there'll be people yelling the other way. All right. Thanks, Mike. It's time to move on. A story from Nicole Rothery. Louis, I don't know how many awkward dinners you've had in your life, but I think I just had my most memorable. I was invited to dinner to meet some of my boyfriend's friends. He warned me that they were religious, but I didn't mind. I'd sat through several dinners with religious people, quietly observing their prayers, and then moved on with my life while enjoying the wonderful food in front of me. Lewis, their religion was the least of my concerns. My boyfriend and I arrived at the restaurant and were greeted at the table. We exchanged pleasantries and made some small talk. Then the husband, well, let's call him Ted, started talking about their recent trip to Fairbanks, Alaska. I've been to Fairbanks. It's a wonderful city with beautiful scenery and great tourist attractions. Ted didn't want to talk about any of that. Instead, he wanted to share how he helped his friend skin a beaver. Yep, you read that right. Skin a beaver. We hadn't even ordered food yet, and he went into great detail about how he was holding the animal down while his friend was slicing away. This topic lasted easily 30 minutes. Later, Ted brought up the beavers again, this time discussing their size, even comparing them to the beavers from the Chronicles of Narnia. He made sure to clarify that he meant the CGI beavers from the 2005 movie, not the 1988 version with human-sized beavers. The night continued with beaver talk, over and over again. After dinner, we lingered at the restaurant, continuing to chat. The wife, well, let's call her Liza, decided it was her turn to talk about her affection with beavers. She shared how she learned about a wildlife rescue group that saved a baby beaver from dying. This group planned to release it back into the wild, but a certain club petitioned the wildlife group to prevent it, claiming the beaver wouldn't survive in the wild anymore since it was no longer wild. Lisa was so proud of this club that she kept chanting their name over and over. And what is the name of the club, you might ask? The I Love Beavers Club. I had to bite my cheek to keep from laughing each time she said it. To make it even funnier, my boyfriend is not from the United States and was not familiar with the slang beaver. I had to explain it to him on the ride home. All in all, Ted and Lisa were nice people, and I would have dinner with them again. But next time, I'd rather talk about religion than beavers. Thank you, Nicole. That's a delightful little tale. That's a dinner and a half. That's funny. I love Beavers Club. She's yelling it in the restaurant, I hope. Chris Van Orden. Here we go, Chris. Dear Lou, maybe I suck at math, but the Doge cuts aren't efficient, and statistically, they're fucking meaningless too. After all, so far, Doge savings account for less than 0.007% of the total federal debt. 0.007%? Are you fucking kidding me? Holy shit. Clinton was getting BJs in the White House and ended up with a budget surplus. With that as a frame of reference, the fucking DOGEbags are epically incompetent and a bunch of jerk-offs, literally. At 007, the only thing smaller than the Doge savings are Trump's hands. Worse, all the Doge cuts have destroyed programs created to help the young, poor, elderly, and disabled. Of course, the administration is correct to point out that these groups are notorious for waste, fraud, and abuse. After all, if history tells us anything, it's that the douchebags of the world love to defraud, abuse, and steal from the young, poor, elderly, and disabled. Mission accomplished. But the highlight for the administration, this administration so far, that has to be reserved for the brand new $20 billion fighter jet. What the hell? We can't afford to care for the poor or elderly, but we can pony up, huh? $20 billion fucking dollars, and that's just seed money for another goddamn fighter jet? But fear not, Lou. There is a great silver lining to this particular shit show. The new fighter jet has a great name. The new fighter jet will be called F 47. Well, I'm absolutely in favor of that. But there needs to be some slight adjustments to the name. First, add a U after the F, as in FU 47, then add several exclamation points after the 47, as in FU 47. FU 47, with 5 exclamation points there. The fucking DOGEbags and their daily parade of incompetence might be hell on earth demoralizing, but the FU 47 would be a perfect and poetic monument to this administration. And it might be the best $20 billion the U.S. taxpayers have ever spent. Keep the wine opener handy. Regards, Chris from Southern New Jersey. Chris Van Orton, thank you for that. Thanks for going on about that. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's all so simple, and it's all sitting in front of people, and they just go. So I didn't know about the $20 billion FU 47 it's a nice new name you gave it. P. Leslie has something important to share. Lewis, I write to you as the evil scourge now visited upon this land, a transgender woman. Last week, the car salesman and chief's deputy director, presumably as a reaction to being publicly eviscerated by his transgender daughter, decided, incorrectly, that my tiny demographic was responsible for the recent acts of violence against his business interests. He attributed this unwarranted rage to hormones, making us crazy, transphobic, and misogynistic. Hey, kids, mark that as a double word score on your fascist Scrabble board. Quite coincidentally, his orange Obergruppenführer declared the violence to be domestic terrorism, going so far as to float the idea that those responsible could find themselves headed to prison in El Salvador? American citizens? So we've just gone full man in the high castle at this point. When will people ever get it through their fucking heads that most of us trans folks are alarmingly boring? We're not out burning car dealerships because most of us have fucking jobs. We're not dolled up like Divine at our public local library reading Cat in the Hat to a group of bemused fifth graders because many of us are busy proofreading their own kids' horrible high school English essays. We're not riding around elementary schools in an unmarked van or peeking under bathroom stalls to whisk kids away for grooming and emergency genital surgery, because the only thing the vast majority of us want to groom our kids to do is to make good grades and rinse off their goddamn plate before they put it in the dishwasher. And personally speaking, I'm only 50% successful at that. And while we're at it, can we please stop it with the whole trans athlete debate and just admit the whole argument against it is a steaming pile of disingenuous bullshit? Do trans women who transitioned after going through male puberty have a competitive advantage? I say probably. But when treatment that would prevent onset of said puberty, the kind where the patient, their parents, mental and medical health professionals, those pre-COVID that we used to trust to make those decisions, are all on board with giving a kid a fully reversible, non-invasive procedure called a goddamn pill, the kind that would mitigate said advantage, is now effectively criminalized. So what choice do they have? We'll force you through male puberty with threat of criminalization, then prevent you from playing sports with threat of criminalization. Anyone with half a fucking brain can see it's not about sports. It's about erasing people, erasing hope, erasing joy. And that is true evil. Wow. Rant over. Now back to reading Papillon and figuring out how to escape a Central American prison after being sentenced with the crime of existing. Best, P. Leslie from Tennessee. Wow, that's a place to pick. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know about that. Going through puberty. Wow. And that there's a pill. Wow. Wowie, wow, wow. I hope I did you justice there. Thanks to all of you for listening to my Rantcast. If you have a rant you want to get off your chest, send it in to me at lewisblack.com/live. You can think of it as therapy, or whatever you want to think of it as. Just let it rip. And I want to thank the true stars of our show, the ranters, and the splendid rants they gave us. Lewis Black's Rantcast was created and hosted by me. Lewis Black. Our live rant audio was produced by James Salter. Our theme song by Chris Lane. Executive producer, Ben Brewer. Executive producers, Matt Kleinschmidt and Robert Kelly for the Laugh Button Podcast.